everybody. Nice seeing you all for the 6th Environmental Sustainability Rotary Action Group, South Asia's series of expertise presentations. If you don't know about ESRAG, it is a Rotary Action Group for Environmental Sustainability. And if you're a Rotarian, you would have known from last year, the environment became an area of focus. ESRAG was instrumental in bringing that over. And we have in our South Asia members, we have over 106 as of today. And it is a very enthusiastic and vibrant group, and helps you cross countries, join task force. Like Nagjoti is a part of the Rivers task force in ESRAG. Then Hanumant was part of the biodiversity one. I'm a part of biodiversity. Just trying to see who else. I'm not seeing the others. Basically, it's a group which is dedicated for working for the environment and to the environment as well. And most of us have, if not professional qualifications, we have done work in the field, so we're able to assist and do good projects. So in this session today, we're having Dr. Milind Kulkarni talking about solid waste management. Sorry, I just forgot the title of your talk.
Challenges and solutions.
May I request Rotarian Ajay Gupta, who is also his club member, to do the honors of introducing him to us. Over to you, Ajay.
Thanks, Meenakshi. This is Ajay Gupta from Rotary Club of Mumbai Green City, and Dr. Milind is my fellow Rotarian from the same club, and I have some other Rotarians from my club, Dr. Meera Ramchandran, here to attend this particular session. Milind is an environmental expert. He got his doctorate in environmental engineering from IIT Mumbai. And then he also worked with the ITM group of institutes as a director, as well as a professor teaching the engineering students. For the last 4 years, he's started his own startup unit, Prachi Incorporation, consulting about the water management, solid waste management, water treatment, and green ecosystems, etc. He was felicitated by the Mumbai Municipal Corporation as well as by the Maharashtra Chief Minister for his work in solid waste management. He is also a Rotarian and is the immediate past president for the Rotary Club of Mumbai Green City. Over to Milind to start his presentation, and then we'll have after 25 minutes of presentation, 20 to 25 minutes presentation, we'll have a Q&A session where you're welcome to raise any questions related to the topic, and then we'll move further. Okay, to you, Milind.
Thank you, Ajay, for the nice introduction. Thank you, Meenakshi, for giving me the opportunity. So now I will start sharing my presentation. So I hope you can see my presentation.
Yes, visible.
Yeah. Okay. So friends, this is the topic, that is implementing decentralized solid waste management, challenges and solutions. So solid waste management, in fact, it is got a boost after Narendra Modi ji became Prime Minister, and he started Swachh Bharat mission in 2014. And in 2016, Municipal Solid Waste and Handling Rules 2016 came into effect. So what are the key requirements of MSW Rules 2016? The first one is the mandatory segregation of waste at source into wet and dry. to achieve maximum recovery of resources. Effective options are reduce, reuse, recycle, and then at the end it is disposal. And now one additional R is added, and that is refuse. For example, plastic we are refusing. To provide treatment and disposal facility to solid waste and landfilling, only the inerts will go to the landfills. So that is what is expected in the solid waste management rules. And establishing an efficient door-to-door waste collection, which was not there earlier. So earlier we used to find a lot of dumps of solid waste in all the corners of the roads. So now they are substantially reduced, if not totally wiped out, as a result of these rules, thanks to these rules. And 100% collection and transport of waste which is generated. So because of this, it is mandatory for all the ULBs, that is urban local bodies, to collect 100% of the solid waste, and 100% transportation should be there. Then what are the guidelines? The guidelines say that the wet waste or biodegradable waste should be processed, treated, and disposed of through composting or biomethanation within the premises as far as possible. So you can either go for home composting or community composting in residential complexes, or in case of small city, you can go for decentralized biomethanation projects also. So in short, indirectly what it is telling is, you should not indulge into processes like incineration and waste to energy from incineration and those types of things. Only wet waste will be taken care of by only composting or biomethanation. And preference shall be given to the decentralized processing to minimize transportation cost and environmental impacts. So every city like has got big landfills, and that is become a big headache for the neighboring citizens. So these laws, these rules want to stop that by having decentralized processing of waste, and only inerts will go to the landfills. So suppose you want to design a project for a small residential committee of community or residential complex of 80 families. How we can quantify the solid waste generated? Total waste generated is assumed as per Swachh Bharat Mission guidelines as 2 kilograms per day per family. Out of that, 50%, approximately this is, it may vary depending upon the culture, depending upon the local habits, etc. So on an average, out of 2 kg per day, wet waste will be 1 kg per day and dry waste will be 1 kg per day. So total waste generated is around 160 kg per day. Out of that, wet waste is around 80 kg per day and dry waste is around 80 kg per day. So that is the composition, you can say, or roughly, if you want to again analyze it further, out of total solid waste generated, around 50% is wet waste, and remaining around, paper and cardboard is around 20%, plastic is around 10%, and remaining is metal, glass, etc., etc. So that is on average the bifurcation into different categories. So typical city, small city should have at least one composting plant where you can, convert the wet waste into manure by a composting plant like windrows, etc. Then there should be one dry waste processing plant. So all the dry waste will be taken, then further segregation will be done. And then you can prepare the bunches of different categories of dry waste like plastic bags, PET bottles, paper, cardboard, etc., etc. So whatever is not composted and whatever is not recycled only will go to landfilling site. So day by day, because of the efforts of Swachh Bharat Mission, Swachh Sarvekshan Mission, and the efforts of individual ULBs, the quantity of solid waste going to landfills is decreasing. So in case of my city, Mumbai, earlier it was 9,500 tons per day. It was going to landfill sites at Deonar, Kanjurmarg, Milind, etc. Now it has come down to 6,000 tons per day, and day by day it is going to reduce. So the decentralized solid waste processing is made mandatory to bulk generators. So if you are having a residential complex and the residential complex is generating 100 kg per day or more, then the ULB or municipal corporation stop collecting the waste, and they have to make their own arrangement in terms of composting, dry waste recycling, etc. So this also you can call as a decentralized waste management, decentralized solid waste management. But these residential complexes, ULBs, are facing many issues, and this is started recently. So in this presentation, I am discussing what are these issues and how you can overcome, what are the solutions. Then sometimes you can give to the external agencies also this work of solid waste management, but they should be empaneled with the municipal corporation. So there are different methods of composting, which we will see in the beginning. So you can have home composting also. You can have a home composting basket like this, and all your wet waste can be composted. So you can then give only the dry waste. So Swachh Sarvekshan says that at least 5% households should have home composting. Then composting pits. So this is the most economic and simple method of composting of wet waste. Constructed from local materials, you can construct pits. And for a family of 80 flats, you can have 2 such composting pits. Size is around 6 feet by 4 feet by 2 feet. And here you can compose the wet waste into the compost. After around 30 to 45 days, it will get composted. So you can see such operation, and all the people have got the habit of dumping their wet waste in some plastic bag. So this operator has to remove this plastic bag, and from plastic bag all the wet waste is dumped into this pit. And then various operations are there by which it is converted into compost. So there are shredder, like this is a mechanical equipment. So you can use it for shredding the dry leaves or shredding the compost which is generated, so it can be converted into a fine powder. Then the composting pits you saw, then later on we developed the shades. Shades are necessary because to protect the compost from sunlight as well as from the rains. Then another devices which you can use for composting of wet waste is composting cages. So the advantage here is that it can have openings from all the sides. So the process is more aerobic here, and therefore the problems of foul smells, generation of leachates, they are substantially reduced, and they are portable also. You can have wheels, and then you can transport. If you want to change the location, you can do that. Then there is another method which is composting tumblers. So these are made of plastics, and but here the air which is available is comparatively lesser. So the chances of the process becoming anaerobic are more, and you have to do turning and all that, and then otherwise it will become a source of foul odors. So, but this is also one of the options. So we have seen what we can do in the decentralized solid waste management. So now we'll see what are the challenges in the decentralized solid waste management. The first challenge is segregation of solid waste at source. So that is the biggest challenge. Every home, now we are around 22 people attending this, including me. So honestly, you introspect whether we do 100% segregation at our own homes. I think probably the answer is no, because always it is possible that wet waste will be mixed by some dry waste, and vice versa. Dry waste dustbin will be mixed with some wet waste. And nowadays the government says you should have third dustbin for domestic hazardous waste. So many houses still do not have this domestic hazardous waste dustbin. So suppose a glass is broken or sanitary napkins are there, Huggies are there, diapers, all these things you can dump into this domestic hazardous waste dustbin. But many places it is not there. So segregation at source is the biggest problem. Unless you don't segregate, you can't operate the composting process properly. Otherwise, the work of the operator increases tremendously. Then collection of segregated waste at by housekeeping staff in segregated form. So suppose some people are doing segregation properly. Many times it happens that the housekeeping staff mix this segregated waste into one big dustbin, and then the whole efforts go waste. So that is also a problem. Collection of segregated waste by municipal staff in segregated form. So municipal staff should also transport that in a segregated form. But many places, they don't have adequate vehicles for dry waste. They don't have proper vehicles, and then it gets mixed. So municipal staff also sometimes do not insist on segregation. So many times they collect mixed waste. There are various issues in decentralized composting, like the quality of compost is not good. The farmers are not taking that waste. The FCO norms are not followed by the compost, and so many problems are there in composting also. There are issues in recycling of dry waste also, which we will discuss in detail. Then there is garden waste. What we should do with the garden waste? Sometimes the residential complexes have big lands, 5 acres, 6 acres. So whatever composting pits are designed, they are designed only for the wet waste generated in the kitchens. So what should we do about the garden waste? There are tender coconuts, there are palm tree leaves, they cannot be composted. So that is another problem. Issues in disposal of biomedical waste, construction waste. So it is not yet properly formalized these sectors, and therefore they get mixed into the normal solid waste, and that is a problem. Issues in getting skilled manpower, like how to do composting, it is also a skilled job, and there are no enough skilled manpower, and then there are problems from the neighbors as you don't operate the composting process properly. Then now we will discuss these problems individually and how to find out the solutions. Like first problem was segregation of solid waste at source. So one of the biggest challenges, and it is mandatory as per the Solid Waste Management Rules 2016, that you should have 3 dustbins: dry, wet, and domestic hazardous. So what are the solutions for this? So if you observe the wording of this, it is Solid Waste Management Rules. It is not an act or law, like you have Air Act 1981, Water Act 1974. This is not an act. So these are just rules created by executive. So it is not a punishable offense. So still it is at the voluntary stage, and it is the biggest problem. So you can't take really any action in case of violation. So that is one remedy. That is enough is enough. Now we'll convert these rules into law. So if law is there, then there will be some penalty and all that, and then the chances are that the segregation will be done properly. Awareness should be intensified by flyers, audio-visual campaigns, etc. So housing societies should stop picking the waste if it is not segregated. So many societies have started doing that, and they're getting the results. Even the ULBs or municipal corporations also should stop collecting the waste if it is not segregated. Then probably there will be better segregation of solid waste at the source. So collection of segregated waste in segregated form by housekeeping staff. So housekeeping staff is reluctant to take 2 or 3 dustbins at each floor if it is a multi-storied building, because their work is increased and they expect increased compensation. But housing societies are not inclined to increase the wages and salaries. Therefore, they don't, collect separately. They mix and then they bring or they tell we will do segregation at the ground floor, but the quality gets significantly diluted. So what is the solution? Solution is we should understand that we should increase their wages, and then you can say that now we have increased your wages just so that you do segregation properly. So there is some societies, there is a tendency to so why we should pay more? You may have Mercedes cars and Audi cars, but if you are asked to pay 200 rupees per month for solid waste management, you feel that it is very high burden. So that type of attitude, I think we should remove, and we should be able to consider this as a compliance matter, and some funding should be allocated for this. We should be prepared mentally for that, and there should be penalty for non-segregation. So ULB can penalize, housing society can penalize. So then the penalty should be transferred to the housekeeping staff if they are not doing it in spite of increasing the wages. So these are some of the solutions. Then collection of segregated waste by municipal staff is not in a segregated form. So many ULBs do not have enough vehicles to collect the segregated waste. So then in Mumbai also it is happening that when the people start segregating properly, then BMC is not able to send the vehicles. So then they should increase the vehicles, or they should encourage entrepreneurs. They are not ready to pay to the entrepreneurs also. If some entrepreneur says, okay, I will purchase this vehicle to collect dry waste, you give me some tipping charges, that also they are not ready. So this problem should be also solved by either you can empower the entrepreneurs, or you yourself purchase more vehicles. Then they generally collect mixed waste and dry waste. So that is what is happening, because there are no enough vehicles. So housing societies do not have contacts to source dry waste vehicles. So housing societies don't know how to call that dry waste vehicle. And then because of that, this dustbin is there outside on the road, and people start putting all type of wet waste also in that dry waste dustbin. Micro segregation of dry waste is not done in housing societies. So many developed countries, they have further segregation, like for plastic there is separate dustbin, for paper and cardboard there is separate dustbin. So that type of arrangement is not there in our case. So we only have this only dry waste, that's it. So we should have that also. And many times the ULB staff collects, some municipal corporations have got these vehicles with this audio clip. Segregate waste, dry waste, wet waste, this thing will make our city clean and all that. So their role ends there itself. So suppose some houses or bungalows are not segregating, there is no scolding or there is no action. So that enforcement, this is the problem of India, in case of all types of laws, not only in solid waste management, other laws about environmental, so like Water Act, Air Act, the enforcement is not strict. But the solution is enough number of vehicles, vigilance, punishment, enforcement should be proper, third party audit. If there are any success stories like Indore, you should promote that success stories and create awareness, and there should be consistency in the efforts. Then there are different issues in the composting also. Suppose we have this wet waste composting. So we should create proper awareness what are the various steps in the composting, and there should be proper training to all the stakeholders. So what are the different steps we will summarize? First is sanitization. So you can spray natural herbal extracts and bioenzymes in order to stop growth of pathogens or foul smells. So sometimes, but don't use insecticides. You can use herbal, or even you can use, you can create slurry of cow dung. That also acts as a good sanitizer. Then bioconversion. So generation of mesophilic and thermophilic temperatures by fast multiplication of desirable bacteria etc. So if this is done, it breaks down the complex organic matter into simple forms, and a nice compost is created after 4 to 5 weeks. And the stabilized biomass can be used as a compost. Then fortification and value enhancement. Suppose you want to sell this compost, then you can add certain minerals like phosphates, etc., to enhance the value. And then proper screening should be done. They say 4 stage, but at least you should do, you can shred it, then you can screen it in 2 stages, and the final size should be, if you do it properly through 3 mm sieve, you can get a very nice quality of compost. It looks like a tea powder, and then farmers will definitely take this. Intermittently, you should send this compost for testing in laboratories, and then you see that whether the compost conforms to the FCO norms. So we are managing around 12 to 13 projects in Mumbai, and we intermittently send our compost in RCF laboratories to check whether the carbon to nitrogen ratio is proper, whether the pH is proper, and all the parameters, phosphorus, etc., they are conforming. So it is a good indication about your operations. So for your operators, you should do proper SOP, how they should arrange various steps. So first is segregation at source, collection and transport. Further micro segregation at processing center. Each day's waste should be in one layer. You should add sawdust or culture. Turning should be done at least once in a week to keep the contents aerobic. You should sprinkle water so that the compost is not turned dry. Ensure proper balance of carbon and nitrogen. You should give proper composting period of 28 days, and there should be 2-stage screening. So all these steps you should follow. Then how to take care of troubleshooting? Suppose foul smells are generated. They are generated because the process becomes anaerobic and you get gases like H2S, etc. They will create foul smell. So you should do turning in regular frequency so that the process remains aerobic and foul smells are not generated. Leachate nuisance, that is the liquid which is generated as a result of composting process is called as leachate. So if you have more food waste which is nitrogenous, the more leachate is generated. So to absorb this leachate, you have to add more carbonaceous material like sawdust or dry leaves, etc., which will absorb this leachate, so that the nuisance which is generated by leachate, like flies are generated and foul smells are generated, that will stop. Sometimes you can add coco pit also. It is a very nice material to get rid of leachate. Culture not available. So culture, basically whatever compost you generated, that compost itself you can add as a culture. If you add bio accelerators, you yourself can generate bio accelerators by adding cow dung or cow dung slurry you can add for accelerated composting, or you can create liquids like Jivika, which is created by adding jaggery, molasses, etc. And you can create a liquid, even curd you can add and create a liquid which will accelerate the process. Then complaints from the neighborhood. So why there are complaints from the neighborhoods? Because of 2-3 reasons. One is the foul smells and another is the aesthetics. So if you start making the operations inside enclosed shade, these complaints will be substantially reduced. And what care we should take about foul smells, that I have already informed. Compost, yes?
You have 5 minutes more.
Okay, fine. So compost is not marketable, that I already discussed. If your compost contains stones, rubbers, fibers, plastic, etc., naturally the farmers will not take it. So you should ensure proper segregation, proper screening, as I told earlier. So sampling and FCO norms. So how to take samples? Sometimes your sample, this thing is acidic or alkaline. So nowadays there are some 24-hour machines. So that compost is invariably acidic. So you should avoid that. Then you should have proper 28 days period. Then some people do their own knowledge, half knowledge. They add the lichet inside the compost, so which will again add heavy metals, and pH will be acidic or alkaline. High moisture, if it is premature, you are taking out the compost, there will be very high moisture. So you should dry this compost properly. Then low amount of carbon or nitrogen. If there is low carbon, it means that you are adding less dry leaves garden waste. If it is more nitrogen, it means that your food waste is more, etc. So like that, you should create a balanced compost. Immature samples, as I already told. So marketing strategies is that you should get branding. Like there is a Harit brand in Maharashtra. So your compost should conform to those FCO norms. If you prepare a small packs of 5 kg, 1 kg, the cost is less and people can take it for their gardens. You can use websites, social media, FM radio, etc. for advertising. You can make agreements with cooperative societies of farmers, etc. So if your quality is good, there is demand. And organic farming, now there is a craze. So people definitely want it, but your quality should be there. So these are the various labeling and various further segregation. You should have proper labeling like this, which will facilitate segregation into wet, dry, and further qualities of dry. There are issues in the recycling also. For example, your housekeeping staff, they sell it unauthorizedly. So you should stop them, because composting project people should only take care of the dry waste. Unsegregated. So as I already told you, soil dry waste, what should be done? So the recycler of like you call something from the market and it is the package is wet, biryani mangai or kuch mangaya. So that is neither wet or not dry. So your recycler should take it. Thermocol. Now thermocol is volume is more and weight is less. So your waste picker or Bangarwala will not take it. So we solved this problem because EPS manufacturers, it is mandatory to do EPR. So we have tied up with one EPR, and then now we are collecting the EPS from one particular ward, and then the collection has improved. Otherwise, EPS has got hazardous environmental impacts. So like that, we should develop innovations. E-waste, we should have drives and then collect e-waste. And proper, it should be done systematically. MLP. So MLP is also not compostable. No Bangarawala will take. So only cement companies take. So proper scaling and supply chain development is necessary. Tetra Pak also, there is one agency which prepares furniture items from Tetra Pak. So like that only we will do proper recycling. Otherwise, it will just go into the landfills. So like that, we should have solutions about dry waste recycling. So as I was telling you about EPS recycling, my organization is now handling all the EPS in the K West ward of the Municipal Corporation of Mumbai, Greater Mumbai. Earlier, it was going into the environment and polluting the environment. Now, it is recycled because the manufacturer again makes EPS from the waste EPS. Issues in composting of garden waste, as I already told you, the palm leaves and all that, you must have a 5 HP motor and special alloy steel blades. If it is there, then all palm leaves and big branches will be converted into powder and it can be composted. For tender components also, coconuts, you can dry them for 15 days, then they can be easily composted. So like that, there are solutions, but we have to work for them. Biomedical waste, there is no proper collection. So this is the ULB's job. They should increase the vehicles for biomedical waste. Construction on demolition waste, also they should make proper publicity. Now, municipal corporation have a special department, but they have some charges. So people should become environmental conscious and they should give their construction and demolition waste only to the authorized recycler, authorized C&D waste, of PMC contract. So like that, issues in getting skilled manpower. So you should have proper training of the operator with the standard operation protocol. They should be given I-card. They should be given proper personal protection equipments like hand gloves, mask, etc., kata, shredder, and how to operate that. And they should be paid higher than the normal housekeeping staff. So that will take care of the skilled manpower. So thank you very much. So I think Ajay, I am right within the time. So the
Yeah. Thank you very much, Milind.
yeah, okay.
Milind, that was a great presentation, and I'm sure the participants have benefited from this. Milind, can you stop sharing your screen?
Yeah.
Thank you very much. And so it was very interesting presentation, Milind, and you highlighted the segregation as one of the key components. Of course, the components you talked about in respect of segregation, beyond segregation, the composting. Composting, we need champions actually within the housing societies. Small bungalows may not be able to do it, but the housing societies can handle it with the help of what you can say, champions within the societies. Of course, the labor has to be paid more, skilled labors are needed. But my thought is basically if we can do that in a little bigger scale in the regional sections, say in a city like Mumbai, in the Andheri area, if we can do it in a larger area, so compost quality will be better and even the takeoff will be easier for the farmers, etc. So a few thoughts on that. So what do you have to say about it?
Yeah, can you highlight your question again? Sorry for that. Yeah.
My question was basically that composting understood, but then if you do it in the little larger scale, there are 20 or 30 or 50 societies put together, they do it together. The quality of the compost will be much more better, and all the components what you talked about, the microbes, the shredders, the screening, all can be done at a uniform level. And the farmers will be ready to buy that good quality compost. So what are your thoughts on that kind of
Yeah, actually,
decentralized, but still little bigger scale?
Yeah. So the thing is that technically it is a very good solution, but administratively a bit difficult because so many housing societies should come together. And I think you are also a member of housing society, housing societies, AGM, and even one housing societies, it is very difficult to take a decision. Then if there are 20, 30 housing societies, it is very difficult, where should be the location, how the cost should be shared, and this AGM will pass this decision. So that is the main problem. In Bombay, they have tried that. So out of so many societies, only one location they have done at Bandra West. They are doing one waste to energy project of biomethanation. So it is possible. Technically, it is very nice, but administratively there are issues. But if 20, 30 societies come together, the expenditure will be substantially reduced, and you can provide better resources, and you can deploy better staff, and per capita expenditure is reduced. So I think that is a very good idea, Ajay, and it should be promoted by ULB.
No, then probably we can go to the municipal corporations and tell them to allocate the area in a particular section. So the society will be willing to pay, like to the area local management, they are ready to pay some fees and we manage the areas ourselves. So this way it can be done through the local management bodies within, say, city of Mumbai and other cities also. We don't know if one of the participants can throw some light on how they manage it.
Yeah, but the area actually that is within the premises. So you should not try to get area from BMC or corporation, because it is mandatory for bulk generators to do it within their premises. So what BMC can do is slums or smaller residences. They are focusing. They are whatever area little bit available, they are using for them. But for gated communities, they are very clear that it is your duty to compost it. So you can either come together and you can find out area within your societies that is okay. So other members, they can throw light, they're welcome. Yeah.
In terms of society, unless you have an individual responsibility, it's never going to work. So instead of having housekeeping staff take it down, you should expect the houses to do it by taking it out. You know, so I think tough love is required. Otherwise, it's not going to work out because, you know, you can always blame it on the maintenance staff rather than which house did what. And now we have got all these, like, you know, trust bin and other things which you can use in your apartment. You know, once it gets full, maybe you have a main collection point for it, and it can also be, you can use also solar power to reduce it and things like that. That is my understanding of all this.
Yeah, you're right that if individual house does home composting and segregation, and they can be penalized, but the ground realities are that it is, you know, there are one society, if there are 400 flats or
in Kharghar,
you have to train them.
Rotary Club of Navi Mumbai.
So, a bit challenging, but it will take time. But yeah, our ultimate objective should be that. Yes, it should become part of our culture, like segregation.
In Mumbai, we are able to achieve the segregation very gradual basis. Most of the societies have now started doing the segregation at least. Composting is still difficult, but segregation has started. And that's how, as Milind mentioned, the total quantity of the waste going to the dump ground has come down by about 30%. So that is only because of the segregation. So that dry waste which was going there is now being picked up by a separate body in Mumbai. And the other solution to those kind of things are that these trucks the same truck can do the total job. One day they can pick up the dry waste and one day they can pick up the wet waste. So that could be another solution to come to a point that segregated waste is picked up. People have a complaint that segregated waste is not picked up, but alternate day picking up can also help to minimize the mixing up of the segregated waste.
In Kharghar, Rotary Club of Navi Mumbai Sunrise, some 40 members have taken these individual composting baskets, and we are doing it at home, and we are using it compost for our garden in the society, etc. And I find in Khandivali there are a few so big societies in Thakur village and all. They are having it on a mass scale, and they are producing a lot of compost, and the compost is being sold.
Yes, I think everybody should emulate that, and they can generate. Even we can give such baskets, and many people are doing it like very religiously. They are doing it, and they are spreading the information to others. Yesterday only I got a telephone call. I want a basket, so whether I should come to you or you will come to my house. I said, if you are doing it, I will come to your house in Kandivali and give you home delivery. So we want more people like you, like that. So you know, that is the way forward. Like as Meenakshi was telling, it should be the responsibility of individual house rather than housekeeping staff and all that. No, so every person should dictate why this is not happening, and then it will you know, streamline. In the long run, it is very difficult because in a very so-called developed countries also, like USA, they take all the solid waste, 80 acres of land, and so no, such a big landfills, and leachate is generated. And now they are learning from us, like country like Singapore. They were already having waste to energy project of incineration. Now they are stopping that, and they are doing segregation and then recycling and composting. And people from Singapore are asking me how it can be done, what are the various machines and all that. So like India has taken a lead in this aspect, at least I will say.
Mr. Milind, I had a question.
Yeah.
What is the ideal size of the box for home composting for one family?
Yeah, actually, ideally, it's a basket picture you have seen, no? Around maybe 5 liters, you can say.
So
Basket.
that means to say 1 week waste it will hold. Then we need another
Yeah,
4 or 5 baskets.
ideally that basket will be filled in 1 month.
1 month.
Yeah, because it goes on shrinking. No, if you make it nicely, you have to sprinkle water. We give what is called as kata. So after 2-3 days, you have to turn these contents, and then if you do it properly, after 15-20 days, that becomes black, and you start getting a very nice smell of earth, no, and very good quality compost is generated. So after 1 month, what you can do is the bottom 50% compost. Some compost you keep as a culture, you not remove all, but bottom out of 50%, 40% you take as a compost and use it in your garden.
Like vermicompost, something like vermicompost.
Something like that, yes. Because if you make it totally empty, then there will not be any culture. So like that. Otherwise, ideal is to have two dustbins, two baskets like that. So one is full, then you can use another one. So after 2 months, first one totally get converted into compost. Like that, you repeat the cycle.
Can we use a waste plastic buckets or something like that to make this as a home?
Yeah, you can use like that, but it should have pores.
Pores.
Yeah. So what we do is we manufacture it like that. We cover this all from inside by a netlon jali like thing.
Achha.
And we give a full bag of culture.
Achha,
then,
okay.
then instructions, 1-page instructions, and there is one tool called as kata.
Achha, okay.
And like that, it gives one set we give.
What is the cost, sir, of that one set?
In Mumbai, it is 800 rupees.
Okay, it has to be sent. The cost of postage will be
Yeah.
How Mumbai we can reach you? How can we reach you? Can you put your address or something on the chat box?
Yeah. I'll put my mobile number.
Okay, fine.
Other thing, I've been composting for 15 years. What I find is, if you do not, like especially pumpkin rinds and all those things which are very hard, you have to cut it into smaller pieces. Pineapple, all that. So these are things which are very commonsensical, but people don't realize. It all goes, and then by the time it becomes wet, and they're like, and the beauty of having this black soldier flies, no one understands, because they don't eat anything, but their larvae are the ones which clean your compost. But because they are black and little big, people get really upset about it. So that is another issue
very
that comes
true.
up.
It is like how you take care. You should take care like a baby. Every day you should at least spend 5 minutes. Then it's nice. Otherwise, sometimes if you become busy in some other activities, you forget it. Then of course the quality will come down. But yeah.
So does it mean that having the maggots of the black fly are actually good for the composting? Okay. All right.
The black soldier flies are now being in Kerala and other places. They have farms that they give it to industries which are doing composting. So the adults, the only purpose is to mate and they'll die. They do not take water. They do not ingest anything. The larvae can change your compost very rapidly, but it'll come as a slurry. So in homes, if you have it as a slurry, it's a problem. You will need to have, either something to kind of absorb that water. Otherwise, it becomes an issue.
Yeah, so we recommend that you should start with flowers, what we call in Marathi Nirmalya, after puja. So that they don't give that smell. Don't start with curry and vegetables. So curry you should avoid. You should generally flush it. So whatever food items like chapatis and rice, you can add it, but somewhat later, after 15 days or 3 weeks. You should start with flowers, and then gradually, after 15 days, they will become totally black. And once the ecosystem is developed, then you can start adding these things. And as Meenakshi was telling, if you take more efforts, it is better and better. Like you should pumpkins and all that. Your mixer is there, no? So you can crush it and add it. Like vegetable cuttings and all that, you should shred it and then add it. So like that.
Do the pulse, don't make it into a liquid. If you're going to make it into a liquid, you're going to end up with a problem. Just
Correct.
1, 2 pulse, it comes down to smaller things and then you can put it.
Correct.
Can I say something?
Yes.
Sure.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much. Acha, see, we are into this from last 20 years into environment, and we have been propagating this from last 17, 18 years in Thakur village area. We had started our work, and we have no NGO, nothing. My wife and me, we both are environmentalists, and we have been teaching people. We have a project which on dumping ground, which we converted into biodiversity park and composting pit, everything. So many societies we had started over here. And this is, we should remember that this is a natural God-made process. Anything which God has made it, it converts back to soil, which again propagates nature. So all these things which are insects or whatever worms or anything which is created in the process, they all help in making our food or anything biodegradable into compost. So nothing is bad now. Our experience teaches us, of course, you are much more educated about it, that whatever, coconut shell or anything hard, we just place it over there. Next time, after about say 2 months or so, about 35 days, 40 days, we find them not degradable. So we again put it back, and within 2 or 3 times, again, they all become compost. So certain things like coconut and all, okay, we can put it again, and it does help. And many societies, we have started the project, and we used to go there, stand over there, get the pit done, and teach the people, then talk to the society members for about 2 or 3, 4 sessions, how to segregate and why to segregate, everything importance, and slowly people started segregating, and of course it's a tough job, but it is possible, and it's just a simple process. Now, home kitchen also you can do it. You can make your composting in your own homes, as you said, in a bucket. We can do it. It doesn't smell, nothing, provided it is done in the right way. So it can be done. It's a very simple process, and each and every society has to do it and can do it. Only thing, we have to change our mindset. That's it.
And sure.
That's
So can we get your number so that we can be in touch with you?
who's my number?
Yeah.
Okay. It is 989
989
2201
2201
623.
623.
And see, I'm not talking anything more. Just go on the Google and type in Afzal Khatri or my wife's name, Nusrat Khatri. You will see what
Sure.
work with you. That's it.
Okay, sure.
And by the grace of God, let me just tell you that we are the recipient of National Award by the President of India for the conservation of environment. By the
Congratulations.
That's it.
Congratulations.
Correct.
So, Milind Sarji, it was nice hearing you.
Yeah, thank you.
Sachman.
Thank you very much, Afzalji, and great to know about your achievements. Thank you. Congratulations.
Any other questions, please? Yeah.
Can I ask?
Sure.
Thanks, Mr. Kulkarni, for nice, full comprehensive exercise.
Thank you, Rajanji.
You have mentioned that 3 types of segregations are there. wet waste, dry waste, and hazardous. Is there any plan to have plastic also segregation? Because initially when we had 3 bins I'm from Pune, 3 bins, they had plastic also taken along with dry waste and wet waste. So, because if plastic is not segregated at source,
Yeah,
then naturally these sack pickers have to segregate it physically.
correct. It is so now it is only dry waste because some people finding it difficult to have 3 dustbins in the houses. So you know, they maybe feeling that further segregation of plastic, it will be done at the fine segregation level. So right now they are making the things less complicated by having one single dry waste dustbin. But of course, when we take this what we call kabadi walas or bhangar walas, so typically our project we deploy our operator. So that operator does this further segregation into plastics, cardboards. Plastics also there are different types. For example, PET bottles or plastic bottles, they have got a different price. And then plastic bags, they have also got different price. So like that, there are different types of plastics. So that I personally feel that at home level, let us stop at these two levels only, and then further at the housing society level or community level, with the help of housekeeping staff, they can do further segregations. Like as I was telling, if you go to Canada, Singapore, in every housing society or at the street, there are 4 or 5 dustbins. One is for plastic, another is for metal, then paper or cardboard, like that. So that is ideal. Many societies don't collect dry waste only. So they tell the individual house people that we will collect only wet waste. Dry waste you go below and further plastic plastic taka, paper paper taka. So then it is possible what you are saying. At community level, you can have more dustbins, big dustbins. So that further segregation. So slowly we will reach to that stage. Thank you.
Yeah, one more question was related to society act or society law.
Yeah.
New societies, whenever it is formed nowadays, has got this option as mandatory, not option, like decomposting plant or bins availability.
Okay.
But old societies still have the problem because everybody refuses to have it near his house.
Yes.
So what is the solution? Is there any law which is going to come, or whether BMC is planning to have such type of mandatory thing for old buildings?
Yeah, old buildings also it is mandatory if they are bulk generators. Like if any society is generating more than 100 kg per day. So typically if you are a housing society of 50 or 60 flats, it is mandatory to you, irrespective of whether you are old or new. So it is the housing societies lookout, or they will stop collecting the waste only. Then sometimes they have filed cases also under MSW rules, and the societies are penalized by a fine of 1 lakh, 2 lakh rupees. So I got many customers like that. They have to go to courts for attending these cases. But what happened because of this corona, last 1.5 years, everything has come to standstill now. Now again they are starting penalizing the old societies if they are bulk generators and they're not doing composting. But of course, there are many things, pressures are there. Corporators will always try to support the housing societies, and all those things are there. But yes, slowly they are tightening the screws on old societies also.
But is there any GR or something is there?
Any?
For this GR, general rules, that is government rules?
Yeah, it is. See, they can take action. like there was one High Court case also in this matter. The BMC stopped collecting waste because they were bulk generators, and then the case, that person said that there is no law as such, then how you can do that? So High Court judgment is that yes, you can't stop collecting the waste because it will create nuisance for others, neighbors. So you can fine the society. So that court has given authority to financial fines, penalty the BMC or any urban local body can do. But then it is a time consuming process, because inside the BMC also there is one legal department. So they send the documents to the legal department and they send the notice and all that. So in that some time elapses, but yes, they have got power to levy penalties and fines. Yes. Segregation is now mandatory.
And last question is related to collection.
Yeah.
Just as we have an issue of segregation.
Yeah.
Second is ULBs are normally collecting it through various vehicles.
Yes.
But that management of vehicles,
yeah,
and collection of garbage,
yeah,
is again one of the area which is required to be thought of.
Yeah.
Maybe in your next session you can cover that more elaborately. But is there any plan BMC is having?
Yeah, that's what I also
especially
mentioned.
especially after festival seasons.
Yes.
A lot of garbages are there spilling over the bins.
Very true. Very true. Yeah.
That is true.
That is true. And that's what it is on paper and sort of media propaganda, it is there, but many people say ground realities are different. There are still some dumps, and in the morning, I am from Kolhapur, and when I go there in the morning, that audio is there, ola kachra, suka kachra, apan tevu swachh shahar, but they don't enforce it properly. Even if you give them mixed waste, they collect it mixed waste. So and in cities like Mumbai, they don't have enough vehicles. Now if they enforce it strictly, and suppose you have got plenty of dry waste dustbins, but they can't send vehicles to collect that, because they have very limited number of dry waste collection vehicles. So as you told, it is a issue where all the ULBs should invest. The BMC is a rich ULB, one of the rich ULBs in India, but still they can't they have not purchased enough number of vehicles. So what is the case of other ULBs, you can just imagine, because they are facing a lot of financial these things. So yes, there are certain issues, and we have to sort it out. And I hope gradually, after consisting awareness, like this lecture by ESRAG is also one of the objective is to create more awareness. And if we all start creating proper buzz, I think one day things will improve, definitely. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Kulkarni.
Thank you, Rajan.
Thank you
One
so
last
much,
question.
Kulkarni. There's just one last question. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Any last question, please? No, I don't think so. So, then actually, I think we can go ahead and close the meeting.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kulkarni. You gave literally a lot of food for thought, especially in terms of in cities with lack of space, what is happening, and this thing. I just hope this brings about a new dialogue on how, especially in Rotary clubs or even Rotarians can be involved in doing this, as a project that they can take from the start to the finish, at least in their societies or something like that. And that will start the change, is what I feel. Thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you all participants for today's seminar. We'll be putting the recording on our YouTube channel, that is at ESRAG South Asia, where you can take a look at it. And if you need to reach Dr. Milind Kulkarni, I think in the chat he has put his phone number. So thank you. We'll see you on 2nd of October. We have a talk from the United States Forest Services. They are Rotarians too, but they are starting something called as Operation Pollination. So they're looking at pollination across the world. And after Canada, we are the second country that they want to give the presentation to and see if Rotary clubs can look at pollination, which is now a major issue with the amount of pesticides and things that we have. So that'll be a totally different subject, but let's try to keep it more exciting each week. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you everybody for
Thank you.
participating.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Chayaji.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Milind.
Sir, excellent session, sir.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Namjyoti.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, everybody.
Sir, are
Bye-bye.
you living in Kolhapur right now also?
Yeah, I visit regularly.
So that the baskets, that we
Yeah.
can collect from you.
Definitely. You let me know
For
how
our
much.
family, Yeah.
Yeah, sure. So my number is there. You can contact
Yes,
me
sir.
and we'll get connected. Okay. Thank you. Thank
We'll
you.
do something, sir.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Sir, I'm doing in the ordinary plastic bucket, which is with the net cover. So on the YouTube, I have kept the videos. If anybody is interested, they can watch it.
Sure.
It's a Go Green videos are there, and various methods are there. Like aerobic method is there, and how to utilize it in growing more maximum organic vegetables and fruit. I'm showing those also. If you are anybody is interested, can watch those and can explore in the home like that way only.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you.
Thank you so much.
Ma'am, Go Green YouTube channel, na?
Go Green.
Go Green YouTube.
Can I close down the meeting now? Thank you
Yes,
so
Bye.
much.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. See you on 2nd. Bye.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.